We're going to talk about lake living in Western North Carolina, and specifically living in Lake Hosea. We're Ryan and Suzanne Maccabee, and we help people relocate to the area between Greenville, South Carolina in the upstate and Asheville, Western North Carolina, and every surrounding area in between. So kick us off. Where is Lake Hosea?
Lake Hosea is located in a small, quaint little mountain town called Saluda, which is about halfway between Tryon and Hendersonville.
Lake Hosea is very conveniently located to downtown Saluda. It's only about 2.2 miles, give or take, on a single-lane road that takes you into the middle of downtown. Yeah. Now, at Lake Hosea itself, it's only about a little over 30 homes, and the homes really range in style. You have what you think of as a typical log cabin, all the way through, homes that were probably built in the last 20 years as well. And so a lot of cottages, cabins, that kind of thing, because it was really a place to escape the heat from South Carolina, and that's how the community developed over the years. There is a circular gravel road that goes around the entire lake. It's only a 6-acre lake, and that's small, right?
Yeah, it is a small private lake. It's used exclusively for the residents that live in the Lake Hosea community. There's about maybe 12 or 15 homes that encircle the lake itself.
And so the lake size is perfect to do non-motorized activities. So you can do stand-up paddleboards, you can do kayaks, you can do canoes, that sort of thing. Residents, I know, get in there just with tubes and float. And you also fish from the HOA-maintained docks as well.
Yeah, there's a number of community docks that surround the lake.
Yeah, and just to compare and contrast, there's only, in the immediate area, 30 minutes to an hour, there's only about 3 other lakes that exist, right?
Yeah, like we were saying, it's surprisingly, there's really not a lot of lakes around this area in particular. There's Lake Adger, which is in Mill Spring.
That's the largest one. That comes in at about 438 acres. So you can compare that 6 acres to 438 to get you some scale there.
There is Lake Lanier, that's just over the border in Tryon-Landrum area.
Lake Lanier is about 130, so it's still sizable. And Lake Lanier and Lake Adger are actually the only two that allow for motorized boats and things of that nature.
And then the other one would be Lake Summit, which is probably the closest to Lake Hosea.
And Lake Summit and Lake Sheila.
Oh, I forgot about Lake Sheila. Yes. Lake Sheila is actually very close to Lake Hosea, but it's in Saluda as well. And Lake Summit is in Zirconia, which is maybe 15, 20 minutes. But the interesting tidbit about these is these are all private lakes.
Every one of them are private.
None of these are open to the general public. So you need to live within the community, either on the waterfront, or you need to be in that community that allows access to that lake.
An example of that is that most of these you have to live in the community, but with the one exception, Lake Summit, which is in Zirconia, you can actually live in the Green River Fire District, and you can get access to the lake that way.
You still need to buy like a pass or whatever.
So we talked about where Lake Hosea is located. We talked about that it's close to Saluda. So what kind of things, entertainment, restaurants-wise, can you do in downtown Saluda?
Yeah, Saluda is a charming mountain town. For me, it's nostalgic just because it was some place that I visited growing up. It has a quaint main street. There's some great restaurants. There's like the Purple Onion.
Bistro, American style fare, right?
Yeah, yep. There is Green River Barbecue, which has
pretty well known.
Yeah, pretty well known. Great barbecue. There are Kay's SoFlo Pizza actually just opened a second location in Saluda. So they're serving up pizza. There is Mexican.
Yep, there is the Saluda Mexican Grill that just opened not too long ago.
And there's also the Saluda Outfitters, which is just down the road, not really on Main Street itself, but...
it's like burger sandwiches.
Yeah, and they also do some live music and things like that.
Some of the inns and bed and breakfasts in town also have dining options too that you can take advantage of. Speaking of,
I was going to say there's
no hotel in Saluda. It's that small. So if you have guests that are visiting, if you live there, you're going to either do an Airbnb short-term rental type situation, or you're going to stay at one of the more authentic bed and breakfast type setups. Other than restaurants, it's not really known as an arts and crafts kind of town. So most of the other retail in the town is probably geared toward that mainly.
Yeah, I would say you're going to see a lot of those Western North Carolina craftsman style things, woodworking, pottery, jewelry. They have a couple of festivals throughout the year. So there is an arts festival in May. There is also the Coon Dog Festival.
And for these festivals, for the art festival, they basically set up on Main Street, because Main Street's only, a quarter or half mile, not even.
Yeah.
And so they set up tents and everything, and it's very walkable. You just park out in designated parking areas. And it's basically a street festival. So you have food, you have arts and crafts vendors that set up, and you have live entertainment, usually some kind of musical act. And it tends to be more skewed to what you would think of that you find in the mountains. So it's like bluegrass or some kind of quartet, or I think this year they're doing shag dancing and square dancing for it, or for the Coondog Festival at least. And so I wasn't really sure what the heck a Coondog was, but you tell me that it's some kind
hound.
It's a AKC recognized breed of dog that is bred for hunting.
Hunting dogs, and there's a Coonhound Festival every July in Saluda, and people bring their dogs. They do a little parade.
They also have a judging, AKC registered judging, I think, after the parade part. So any dog can go into the main parade part, and then they have just the coon dogs, I think, in the later judging stages. And then they open it up to all the entertainment things. And it runs until probably 9 o'clock or so at night.
And they usually end it with like music and things like that. It's a fun day.
Yeah. Other than that, if you want to get more adventurous in Saluda, what can you do? So it's not just shopping and eating.
Okay, so there's the more low-key ones like hiking and maybe
there's a new park that opened, Bell's Park.
Yep. And McCreary Park has a playground.
Yep.
That's right near Main Street. But Bell's Park is a new one that just opened in November 2024, and it's a short hiking trail that goes to some waterfalls. So you've got the hiking. You've got tubing. So again, the more low-key.
So you can get hooked up from Green River Outfitters. So you can go rent your tubes, your kayaks, and they can organize trips down the Green River, which goes down there. But very nice, clean river. Definitely would check that out if you'd like to do any of those kind of outdoor sports. Did we talk about the gorge?
No, I was going to say we were gearing up toward the more extreme.
Yeah, so if you really want to get the adrenaline pumping, so the gorge is a big ravine, and if you are driving on Interstate 26, you actually cross the Green River Bridge, and you don't really realize as you cross it how high up you actually are. But they have put in businesses operating there that does zip lining. They have I think in part of that course, there's 3 different areas that you're rappelled down, and it's 1.25 miles worth of zip line, I think.
I haven't been bold enough to try that.
And a swinging sky bridge. So you go through the canopy a bit, and then you get to go across the gorge.
Yeah. For the thrill seekers, that would be the one.
That's where you go. What are some things that you may not like about living in Saluda? So we talked about there's no hotel.
Okay, so guests. With especially being on Lake Hosea, it's very tranquil, very peaceful. The flip side to that is that it is a little bit of a drive if you need to go to some medical facilities or to maybe the grocery store. Your biggest grocery stores are going to be in either Hendersonville, Landrum, John area to get those things.
Yeah, if you need to run in and pick just a gallon of milk up, you can do that in Saluda.
Yeah.
There's a couple places that you can do that, but like your normal grocery shopping, it's going to be a 20 to 30 minute drive depending on which direction you take. The other thing that from a medical perspective, it's again about a 20 to 30 minute drive.
You're going to the same places. Yeah.
Because you're going either up to Hendersonville to Party or Advent hospital systems, or you're going down to Tryon, which has St. Luke's, which is now part of Advent Health. So yeah, you're going to be used to driving 20 30 minutes just to do anything out of those list of businesses that we already ran through.
Yep. It's a nice drive. It's a scenic drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a beautiful drive.
But so if you want to be more in the hustle and bustle and easy access to things, you may want to look into some other areas.
Let us know in the comments what you would enjoy about living in a small town like Saluda.